Let's now talk about some very common relationship between words, and they are usually known as synonymy and antonymy. Synonymy is the relationship of sameness of meaning between words. Before I move on, I just want to make one point clear here, that there cannot be exactly the same meaning of two different words, but we find some similarities of the meaning between words, and based on that we find synonym in various languages. But it is not possible for two different words to mean exactly the same. So when we say sameness here, that means a kind of established similarity of the meaning, and by that we mean that if we change one word with the other, it doesn't compromise its meaning a lot. The substitution of one word with another may not change the truth value of that word, or that sentence, of a sentence in which that word is being used. We have various examples of the synonymous words like couch, sofa, boy, lad, lawyer, attorney, and there can be so many examples of synonyms we use frequently in our daily communication. For instance, if we say how big is that plane, or how large is that plane, use of word big and large in both these sentences does not change the overall content of the sentence, and we do not have to go to another meaning by this change. So both these words convey almost the same idea or a similar idea. Therefore we can say that they are synonymous to each other. As I said earlier, synonyms are never truly changeable. I mean, they can be changed with each other in certain situations, but not necessarily in all situations. For example, the same word large and big can be used with this plane in different situations, but may not be used with other objects in various situations. So we need to keep that in mind, that these synonyms are not changeable with each other in all situations. While it's difficult to find two exactly identical words, there are examples of synonyms in our daily life. And synonyms often have different distributions along a number of parameters. And this is what I'm just sharing with you people. They may belong to different dialects, styles, or gestures, and we use them in different social situations. For example, the word wife or spouse is more formal as compared to the word old lady or Mrs. These various synonyms might also convey other social meanings. For example, they convey positive or negative attitudes. In this regard, we can cite the example of word knave and gullible. They probably are more positive as compared to the word ingenuous. So, I mean, these words do carry positive or negative connotations, and the synonyms we used for such meanings, they may be changed in different situations. Antonyms are the words which are opposite in meaning, and this opposition of meaning may exist in different situations and may depend on certain criteria in certain situations. We can categorize antonyms in different situations who are incompatible or contrasting in meanings with each other. Some may be called as simple antonyms, and by simple antonyms we mean that absence of one word may mean the presence of other word. For example, when we say somebody is dead, that means he is not alive. So dead is the absence of life here. So we can call them simple antonyms, or in other words, we can call them that the positive of one implies the negative of the other. They are also known as complementary or binary pairs. Other example can be of pass and fail. Either you are pass or fail. If you are fail, you are not pass. And if you are pass, you are not fail. That means that the presence of one means the absence of the other. We have another kind of antonyms, and that is gradable antonyms. Here, we do not apply this formula of presence of one means the absence of others, because in such antonym, though there is a relationship of contradiction, a relationship of opposition, still we see that they are not the exact opposites to each other. For example, the absence of one does not mean the presence of other. I give you an example. If I say my car is not new, that does not mean that my car is old. There may be some middle space. My car may not be that new, but it is still not old. So such antonyms may be graded on a certain scale. And as examples of these antonyms, we can see rich and poor. If you are not rich, that does not necessarily mean you are poor. There may be some middle ground. You may belong to a middle class, or you may be slightly rich. You may be lesser poor. So there could be certain categories which may fall in between. Similarly, fast and slow. If you're not fast, that doesn't mean you're slow. I mean, you might be walking on a normal pace, which is neither fast nor slow. So the presence of one does not mean the absence of other. So they are not necessary antonyms. We have another category in form of taxonomy sisters. There are some words who fall at the same level of a taxonomy. Taxonomy is the classification systems of words, and it includes the classification of various genres also in various sciences. But here we are reduced to the classification of words. Words who fall at the same level in a certain category, they can be called taxonomy sisters. For example, color terms red, blue, white, yellow, they are taxonomy sisters. But they are different from each other. If something is red, that cannot be blue or black. So, though they exist at the same level, they are sisters. They have some share in meanings. For example, they all are colors, but they do not represent the same meaning. They are different from each other within the same linguistic field or category. Or in this taxonomy, we can say that my car is not blue. That means that it may be red, yellow, or white. So it could be any other color in the same category, but it is definitely not blue. So they belong to the same category of words, but they are opposite in meaning to each other when they are used in daily life. Similarly, we have reverses as another category of antonyms. In reverses, we find the words who are related to certain movement. So we have words who convey certain movements. One word may convey movement towards one direction, and the opposite of that word conveys the movement in another direction. So they, based on their different movements or opposite movements, they are known as reverses. And such words may be known as push, pull. I mean, if somebody is pushing something, so it's not pulling, right? So we have words come and go, which always are in opposite directions. I may say somebody come, that means move towards me, and if I say go, that means move away from me, right? So in such situation, the direction of the movement is different. We also have examples as in, out, right, left, up, down. So they are reverses. There is another category which is equally important, that is converses. In converses, we describe a relationship between two entities from alternate viewpoints. For example, the meaning may be the same, but we say that meaning into from two different perspectives. The words like own and belong to, above, below, employer, and employee. So to put a very simple example of this, we can say that Ali owns this book, and from a different perspective we can say this book belongs to Ali. So the same idea has been conveyed from two opposite directions or two opposite viewpoints. This category of antonyms is usually called converses.